We'll go ahead and get started, and please, everybody who's joined us by telephone, mute your phones until it's your item. Welcome to the business meeting, February 14th, 2023. It is 2 p.m. I'm calling this meeting to order. In attendance are Commissioners Brooks, Matari, and Duncan. And if you'd please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, and Pledge of Allegiance. Who would like? Joan, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, I would take a motion to approve meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes 1 through 7.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, and then for consent calendar,
I move that we approve the consent calendar with items 8 through 16.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
aye, motion passes, and payables list.
For the, let's see, from February 6th to 10th, 2023, I move that we approve the payables in the amount of $911,060.32, and the P card in the amount of $21,831.79, for a total of $932,892.11, with no jury panel payments.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Item 18, independent contractor services for McCrite with our county assistants. And Grace, you want to lead us?
Good afternoon. Grace Blomgren, Chief Deputy Clerk. We're requesting to hire an independent contractor for county assistance. The individual is a prior county assistance employee and manager. She understands the process for suspended cases. We have 6 left to close out. And the hope is also she would be able to impart some of her knowledge on the staff we have. We have the money in our B budget to cover the cost. And as I said, it's 6 suspended cases.
All right, questions?
No questions.
Motion?
I move that we approve the independent contractor services with McCrite from February 22nd, 2023 to March 31, 2023 for no more than $4,800.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you. Item 19, board approval request for the 2023 FTA certifications and assurances and RMO. And Mr. Engel, are you handling this one?
I am, thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. Chad Engel with RMO for the record. The certs and assurances are required to be updated annually with FTA. In order to submit any of our applications to FTA for 5307 funds, we need to have this updated in the system for fiscal year 23, so we are requesting your authorization to proceed. Legal has reviewed and approved the certs and assurances.
Okay, questions?
No questions.
Motion?
I move that we approve the request for 2023 for FTA certifications and assurances with the RMO.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Item 20, purchase of service agreement, MV Transportation. It's for our paratransit and demand response public transportation. And Chad again?
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. Chad Engel with RMO for the record again. The purchase of service agreement between Kootenai County and MV Transportation is for the management and operation of paratransit and demand response services. The term of the agreement is for 3 years with 2 one-year options. Legal has also reviewed and approved this contract.
Okay, questions?
And it's mostly grant funded?
100%.
That is correct, yes. It's 5307, 5310.
Yep, okay, no questions.
All right, motion?
I move that we approve the purchase of service agreement, MV Transportation, paratransit, demand response, public transportation, service agreement from February 2023 through 31 December 2025.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion carries. Item 21, Kootenai County Fire and Rescue Fire District Annexation. And this is for Heilman. And usually our civil deputy prosecuting attorney, Dave Ferguson, handles these.
So, yeah, I did review this, and it was published and approved appropriately. The property is adjacent to current annexed property. It does appear from what I was provided that it meets all the qualifications for annexation.
All right, questions?
No questions.
All right, motion, please.
I move that we approve, let's see, where am I?
21.
20 what?
21.
21. I move that we approve the Kootenai County Fire and Rescue Fire District Annexation 50N02W-20-4350 Hellman.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Item 22, board approval request, capital criminal defense provider agreement with Latah County and our public defender. Is there anyone from public defender on the line? I didn't think they could make it today. So essentially, this is for our public defender to provide defense services in Latah County. Are there any questions?
No.
Okay, motion.
I move that we approve the capital criminal defense provider agreement with Latah County for the public defender.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion carries, thank you. Item 23, board approval request, Airport Advisory Board appointments. The expiration date on this one is December 31st, 2023, and we had some more people apply, and I think I will let Commissioner Matari talk to this one.
We have one open spot left on the Airport Advisory Board. And so after meeting with the different applicants, the person that I would want to move on to fill that spot would be Eric Moose.
Okay, and he is a commercial pilot.
He's a commercial pilot. He was a Marine Corps officer. He led a F-18 Hornet flight wing. And he is basically from this area. He graduated from Coeur d'Alene High School, I believe. And so he has extensive aircraft experience.
Okay, Bill, questions?
No, I'd like to see Jean Gentner back on that board.
Okay.
She's been there for a long time and done a great job.
I think at this point, we have another opportunity to make that happen as well. I would say, since this is finishing out this year, that I'd be in favor of Mr. Moose at this point. And so I would take a motion.
I move that we approve Eric Moose onto the Airport Advisory Board for the position that expires 12/31/23.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
No.
Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. Motion passes. Item 24, board approval request for the addition of 2 alternates to the Airport Advisory Board. Commissioner Matari?
After kind of reevaluating everything that's going on with the Airport Advisory Board, and in an effort partially to maintain some institutional knowledge on the Airport Advisory Board, I would like to have the board look at adding 2 alternates onto the Airport Advisory Board.
Okay. I'd be fine with that. Bill?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our Fair Board does have alternates as well, so
Okay.
I would entertain a motion.
Okay, so, and then just, again, for the motion, would it be to add, so it'd be to add 2 alternate positions
Yeah,
first?
then the next item is appointing the alternates.
Okay, and then also one of the, okay. Well, we'll start with, I move that the board approve the request to add 2 alternates to the Airport Advisory Board.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks?
Aye.
Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, item 25, board approval request for the appointment of alternatives to the Airport Advisory Board. Their expiration date would be December 31st, 2023.
And this is where I would like the board to consider both Joan Genter to maintain continuity as far as institutional knowledge of the advisory board, as well as Frank O'Connell. And one of the things that I would like to do with the board's approval is attend the first meeting tomorrow, and I just provide some direction to the advisory board, and I'll just run through this very quickly. So that way that the board understands that they understand their proper role in the advisory board, and that it reports to the BOCC, that the advisory board cannot affect airport operations directly, that the advisory board's role is to seek information and to provide guidance and recommendations to the BOCC, and that airport management is to reasonably assist and report on any issues that it believes may not be conducive to that effort, as well as I want to propose to the advisory board to evaluate processes, procedures, documentation, and matters that will be brought before the BOCC that may include lease application process, the leases that come through the airport, have them take a look at it, complaint management and resolution systems, communication procedures with airport stakeholders, and any other processes that may affect the airport stakeholders. And with the board's permission, I'd like to attend that meeting and just cover these items or any items that you want added or even consider removing.
Okay. Bill?
Fine with me.
Okay. So my question would be, when it says all leases, I don't know that every lease on the airport needs to go through the advisory board. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, right now, from my understanding, certain leases don't go through the advisory board that probably should go through the advisory board, but they're categorized as ground leases, which puts them into the catch-all of the advisory board doesn't need to see them. And I think that's why some leases have not been presented. So it doesn't have to be a permanent thing, but at least in the beginning, until some idea can be established as to what qualifies, what triggers it going before the advisory board and what doesn't.
Okay.
Because I agree that there are some cookie cutter leases, but they all fall under the category of ground lease.
Right.
And that's how it gets bypassed from the advisory board.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm in favor of that as long as it's shortly that it's determined exactly what leases will come before them.
Then we can have them look at it and make a recommendation on what leases should.
Okay.
So I will include that.
All right. So then I would take a motion to appoint those 2 alternatives mentioned and to allow Commissioner Matari to give the advisory board direction.
I move that we approve Frank O'Connell and Joan Genter as alternates to the Airport Advisory Board, and that with your permission, you allow me, Commissioner Matari, to speak at the first meeting tomorrow evening to convey this direction to the Airport Advisory Board.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Our next item is Resolution 2023-16, which I believe we can handle with item 27 as well, Resolution 2023-17. So it's classify records and destroy records within KCSO per Idaho code. And Lieutenant Klinkafis, have you joined us by telephone?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
All right, go ahead.
And just like you said, we're asking to reclassify these records as stated as surpassing the statutory retention period, and then also requesting permission to destroy those records.
Okay. Any questions?
No questions.
All right, motion?
I move that we approve the reclassification of KCSO records per Idaho code, and the same motion, destroy records per Idaho code, same Idaho code.
Okay.
I'm doing well with the sheriff's office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, and just to restate, those are resolutions 2023-16 and 17. So now we can move on to item 28, which is resolution 2023-20, and this is asset resolution to dispose of the knuckle broom crane, which is, I think, asset number 6985, and our Director Phillips.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thanks for having me. Good afternoon. John Phillips for the record. In January of 2023, we replaced a knuckle boom crane at the Ramsey Transfer Station. This is the primary piece of equipment we use to top load trailers for every load that goes to the landfill. The crane that was being replaced had been fully depreciated, but the Solid Waste Department did receive an $8,000 trade-in at the time of purchase of the other crane, as in the contractual documents. As required, I am before you to ask the BOCC to approve Resolution 2023-20 to declare this equipment as surplus and allow removal from the Kootenai County's asset list.
Okay. Any questions?
No questions.
All right, motion.
I move that we approve Resolution 2023-20, number 6985, the disposal of the knuckle boom crane with solid waste.
Second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion carries. Item 29.
How do you dispose of a knuckle boom crane?
So this one was traded in, so at the time that they replaced it in January, they took the old machine with them, and because it wasn't worth a lot of money, the $8,000 they offered, we deemed was acceptable. Yeah,
I just wonder.
yeah. We could have scrapped it out, but we would have received far less.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I guess you're next,
We
too.
got one more.
Yes, Resolution 2023-21, and this is asset number 6738, and this is a, I guess, defunct Ricoh multifunction machine.
Yes, thank you. Again, John Phillips for the record. Within the last few months, the Solid Waste Department replaced our main copier scanner, that's known as a multifunction machine, in the administration office at the Ramsey Transfer Station. As required, the department is asking the BOCC's approval of this resolution to 2023-21 to declare this equipment as surplus and allow removal from the county's asset list.
Okay, questions or motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 2023-21 for asset number 6738, the disposal of the Ricoh multifunction machine.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, all right, motion passes, and we are to the status update pending list, and I have nothing new to report on the facilities. We're still just waiting for Boughton to finish their first pass at it and give the BOCC some options on how to save money on the 3 courtroom expansion of the Justice Center. So, Bill, anything on impacts?
Nope, nothing.
Okay. I will now open it up to public comment, and just a reminder to address the board, and depending on how many people want to speak, we'll go 3 to 5 minutes. So, no one? Anybody on the line, Jonathan? Oh, okay.
Oh, no, that isn't people in order of who's,
No, you can come to a table or you can come to the podium.
I keep a list of everybody who's here.
Oh, got it. Okay. I thought there was a
No, no.
No. And then
Sorry.
you need to push the button to turn it green on
Make it
the.
green.
You need to push the little, okay, all right.
Do I just start speaking?
Yes,
And somebody give me a thumbs down maybe at 3 minutes?
sure.
Hello, my name is Yvette. I live in the city of Hayden Lake, and I am here today because I know that you may or may not be considering some changes to the county building codes. I happen to be in a horrible situation where I've lived in Idaho since 2004, and I've lived in the city of Hayden Lake since 2006. In 2017, I started investigating lots, and I found 3 that had come available for sale. And the reason that they were available is because a 15-year lawsuit between my neighbors had finally gone up to the Idaho Supreme Court and been resolved. And no one really won in that lawsuit. So in my investigation, I wanted to see where the utilities are. The city of Hayden Lake only has 230 homes, maybe, largely on Lakeview. And when I was investigating the lots, the superintendent brought up a package that I was very familiar with because when I was working, I partnered with that company. And I said, wow, there's not a sewer in my easement. Maybe I don't need an easement. And he said, oh my gosh, that's right. And by the next day, he had backpedaled. And although I had a civil engineer, a structural engineer, a geotechnical engineer, I went to the Department of DEQ. He would not accept anybody's knowledge that there was no sewer. I spoke to a lot of my neighbors. I found out that the easements on their lots took 7 years, sometimes to be vacated, and I couldn't wait 7 years. I was homeless at that moment, and decided to build around the easement. Fast forward, I applied. I had my plans. At that time, all that was required was a floor plan on a napkin. However, I had a structural engineer, I had a geotechnical engineer, I had a civil engineer. I submitted a full set of plans stamped by the appropriate engineers. And that was in October. I have proof of everything that I'm saying here today, but I'm not going to give you sheets of paper. If you want questions or if you want to see proof, let me know. And when I applied for the building permit, the clerk at that time, her name is Lynn Hagman, and she has since passed, said, okay, she kind of checked everything. She says, hold on to your plans, just email them to me, and I'll email them to the state. And I said, well, what building code do you follow? Do you follow the International Residential Code? Do you follow the International Building Code? And she said, the International Residential Code. And I said, well, what year? At that time, it was 2012. And I said, great, because out of my 75 cousins, first cousins, many are in the trades. And I thought, and her brother is a building inspector. I should have started off by saying, I'm going to say some names here today that are going to offend you. I don't mean
So-
to offend you, but they're just going to offend you.
Can
Yes.
I ask you a question? So you were in the actual incorporated city of Hayden Lake,
Yes,
and you're dealing with them for a building permit.
yes.
So the Board of County Commissioners has zero authority over the city of Hayden Lake.
I am crossing my T's and dotting my I's because of perceived by me public corruption and the proof that I can share with you. And when I've gone to the Office of the Attorney General, I was told that I had to come to you guys first. I did reach out to Mr. Brooks about a year or so ago. Do you remember this kind of? And you gave me to Roger? Yeah. And he was next to Roger. I don't remember his last name, but community developer. And so you may not know this. I'm just doing what the Attorney General's office told me to do. That's why 3 to 5 minutes is plenty. I crossed that T, I dotted that I, and I can move on. Anyway, proceeding. It was taking a while to get my permit approved, and at that time, they had fired or replaced the code enforcement officer, and now the city attorney was acting as the code enforcement officer, but I didn't know that. I didn't know him. Why would I? And anyway,
So,
plans to get approved by the state.
okay, so how is it that the county can help you? So I'm not sure how the Attorney General is.
Because public corruption, which I'm sure you know who goes into this industry. I mean, that's my never so humble opinion. But helping me get a certificate of occupancy, which they refused to issue.
So the Board of County Commissioners, again, cannot do anything in the city of Hayden Lake.
Right. However, if they are charging me and aren't giving things to me that I have paid for, then that's public corruption, isn't it?
It might be, but once again, it wouldn't be under the authority. You would contact the prosecuting attorney.
Where?
His office is in the old courthouse.
And who is he and what is his name?
Stanley Mortensen.
Help me spell the last name.
Mortensen. Sorry, Stan, if that's not right.
Actually, yeah, it is.
It is,
It's all
okay.
E's. It's weird.
Okay.
Oops. Sorry, Stan.
Okay, so again, that's why and I did my part, and I just don't know where else to go because until I spoke to you, they would not speak to me.
Well, I understand it's a very frustrating situation, and I hope you get resolution. I do. So, thank you. Any other public comment today? All right, 2:28, meeting adjourned. Thank you.